Hey, what's up, Internet? It's Clinton Davis, and let's get into it. Last night was the first presidential general election debate of this election season, and it was just fantastic, really captivating, people presenting their ideas on opposing sides in a really respectful manner. Just kidding. It is reported that Donald Trump interrupted Hillary Clinton 51 times as opposed to her 17 to him. Now, I understand that in a presidential debate, people are going to interrupt each other. But Donald Trump interrupted Hillary Clinton 51 times. I'm pretty sure that's a record for presidential elections. So, a recurring theme of the debate was Donald Trump claiming he didn't say things that he's actually said and that he's on tape saying, which has been a recurring theme for Donald Trump throughout this election. Well, I don't know if I said that. I mean, come on. I think what I really said was,
2 hours later.
I think we should stay with what I originally said. I present no acknowledgement of my changing of this policy.
Donald thinks that climate change is a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese. I think it's real.
I did not.
Science is real.
I do not say that.
And
Actually, Trump, I have a clip that says otherwise.
from looks to stamina. But this is a man who has called women pigs, slobs, and dogs, and someone who has said pregnancy is an inconvenience to employers, who has said women don't.
Actually, Trump, I have another clip that also says otherwise.
You know, pregnancy is never, it's a wonderful thing for the woman. It's a wonderful thing for the husband. It's certainly an inconvenience for a business.
Trump seems to only care about cities when he has property there.
Look at what's going on in Charlotte, a city I love, a city where I have investments. You don't have good community relations in Chicago. It's terrible. I have property there. It's terrible.
I got property in Fleety. I got property in Carmies. They're sending our jobs away on messaging apps created by Syrian refugees. Donald Trump says some crazy things.
Especially around 2 or 3 or 4.
On Twitter, but he's had trouble bringing it to the debate stage with his opponent Hillary Clinton. I mean, it worked on his primary opponents, but it isn't going to work on Hillary, and it certainly isn't going to work on Lester Holt. Oh, Mr. Registered Republican's not so neutral anymore. Well, it looks like he came out on our side. No, I'm just kidding. Props to Lester Holt for holding Donald Trump just as accountable as Matt Lauer has held every boy band that's ever been on the Today Show, but somehow failed to do with Donald Trump. Trump does the worst when he has to talk about policy because he has the same firm grasp on policy that the great man we all know is SpongeBob SquarePants has. Love you, buddy. Keep being absorbent and porous. When I watched his Tonight Show interview, I kinda liked him for a couple minutes. And the second he opens his mouth on any sort of news-oriented program, it completely blew it for me. So some of you may remember that my last video was a tip of the hat to Donald Trump denouncing the shooting of Terrence Crutcher and saying that the officer, Betty Shelby, was totally in the wrong. During that video, I was actually under the impression that Donald Trump actually gave a fuck about the issues facing the black community, but nope, I guess he's just full of shit.
We need law and order in our country. And I just got today, as you know, the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police. We just came in. We have endorsements from, I think, almost every police group, a large percentage of them in the United States. We have a situation where we have our inner cities, African Americans, Hispanics, are living in hell because it's so dangerous. You walk down the street, you get shot. In Chicago, they've had thousands of shootings, thousands, since January 1st. Thousands of shootings. And I'm saying, where is this? Is this a war-torn country? What are we doing? And we have to stop the violence. We have to bring back law and order. In a place like Chicago, where thousands of people have been killed, thousands over the last number of years. In fact, almost 4,000 have been killed since Barack Obama became president. Almost 4 4,000 people in Chicago have been killed. We have to bring back law and order. Now, whether or not in a place like Chicago you do stop and frisk, which worked very well, Mayor Giuliani is here, it worked very well in New York, it brought the crime rate way down.
When your answer to a question about police killing unarmed black men is an answer about how we need to bring back law and order to the United States, then you are a special kind of asshole. It's not a question of how we create less police interactions. It's a question about how we create less deadly ones. I certainly don't think a low-level drug offense should be a death sentence, but it oftentimes is. And if you don't understand that, then clearly you should not be our next president. In case you were wondering what the specific question asked was, here it is.
We move into our next segment talking about America's direction, and let's start by talking about race. The share of Americans who say race relations are bad in this country is the highest it's been in decades. Much of it amplified by shootings of African Americans by police, as we've seen recently in Charlotte and Tulsa. Race has been a big issue in this campaign, and one of you is going to have to bridge a very wide and bitter gap. So how do you heal the divide? Secretary Clinton, you get 2 minutes on this.
Mr. Trump, your answer was a prejudice deflection, and you should be ashamed of yourself. But if you aren't already ashamed of yourself from anything that's happened in this election, I don't see you ever feeling shame. In other wacky news, something weird to say about a presidential debate to see who's going to lead our country. Donald Trump decided to answer a question. Well, he answered it out of turn, but he answered that question like this.
Or maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So
that makes
if
me
he's
smart.
paid...
Are you kidding me? He just said that he is smart for not paying anything in federal taxes. Anything. Now, I understand that a lot of people think that tax rates are too high. They don't agree with tax hikes for the rich or anything, but to say that you're smart for not paying anything in federal taxes, well, first of all, that's illegal when you're running for president. Can you imagine? I mean, everyone already freaks out that Hillary says that using a separate email server was a mistake. So imagine if she bragged about it and said that it made her smart because the government couldn't see her personal emails. People would lose their minds. They wouldn't know how to react. Fox News would be going crazy. CNN would be going crazy. MSNBC would be sweeping it under the rug. Now, I want to take a second to hold Hillary accountable for something because she said this.
That if you're a young African-American man and you do the same thing as a young white man, you are more likely to be arrested, charged, convicted, and incarcerated. So we've got to address the systemic racism in our criminal justice system. We cannot just say law and order. We have to say we have to come forward with a plan that is going to divert people from the criminal justice system, deal with mandatory minimum sentences, which have put too many people away for too long for doing too little. We need to have more second chance programs. I'm glad that we're ending private prisons in the federal system. I want to see them ended in the state system.
Because of your husband. Your husband implemented the policies that made those African Americans be disproportionately locked up for low-level drug offenses, and you called black teenagers super predators, which Donald Trump will call you out for on this. Now, you want to say that we need to change this? Well, you started it. So if you want to change it, fine, because always change what you start. But oh my God, for you to say that this is a bad thing when you started it, maybe you should have thought about that when you started it. So for my last story of the day, or my last commentary of the day, I just want to talk about this.
We're doing this. Our country's in deep trouble. I want you to be very happy.
I don't think he's healthy enough to run for president. I think we might need to check his medical records. Because if both these candidates are sick, we might get to start over again. And if you look at the way that the media is covering these two, you would think they're way sicker than I assume that they actually are. Anyway, if you like this video, please like it. If you like it so much that you want to see more like it, please subscribe. And if you feel like you can add something to the conversation, please comment down below. If you want to leave a mean comment about how you're going to murder me, please also utilize the comment section in that respect. And of course, as always, if you're still watching this video, I love you more than my emotionally detached personality will allow me to express, and that frustrates me deeply.